The crypto market has been an absolute roller coaster recently. We saw Bitcoin touch prices just below 65,000 and less than a week later dumped down to prices just below 52,000. This recent dump came right alongside one of the biggest shifts in hash rate history. China's government shut down the grid in multiple areas in China, which actually affected Bitcoin mining operations and caused a massive dump in the hash rate. Most top Bitcoin analysts agree that that was the cause of the dump. That leads me to believe that the recent dump that we saw in the market is not something to worry about. We saw short-term bearish speculators, weak hands, dump Bitcoin on this news, and now we're coming back up. And I do think that we are going to recover, and I do think that this bull market is nowhere even close to being over. Before we get started, hit that like button and click that bell icon so that you're part of the notification squad. So recently the price of Bitcoin did see a dump, and of course the altcoins followed. But now we're recovering, and the hash rate volatility, in my opinion, is not a sign of the end of the bull run. The market being spooked by hash rate volatility is not something that signals the end of a bull run. Right? That is not how bull runs end. So I think it's safe to say that we are still good to go, right? We still have a green light that this bull market is likely going to continue. And something that I find super interesting is that Wall Street is now beginning to understand Bitcoin. They're actually coming around. It's actually kind of crazy to see this. Today we got an interview from Bill Miller on CNBC. And people like Bill Miller are now saying that Bitcoin is like digital gold. And in this interview, Bill discusses why he thinks that Bitcoin does have a lot more upside to go. And he actually discusses why he thinks Bitcoin is not in a bubble. And this is coming from Wall Street. Let's take a look.
How much more upside is there? Even if you think there's upside, is there a lot more upside, do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, Bitcoin, there are many, many different ways to look at Bitcoin. The simplest one is just supply and demand. You mentioned the mainstreaming of it and the institutional acceptance of it. And I think, supply is growing 2% a year and demand is growing faster. That's all you really need to know, and that means it's going higher. So I think that, it's going to have these kinds of volatile days. It was down 20% peak to trough over the weekend. But back in 2017, which was a bubble, I don't think this is a bubble at all in Bitcoin. I think this is now the beginning of a mainstreaming of it. But even back then during the bubble, it went down 20% on 5 different occasions. So volatility is, with Bitcoin, volatility is the price you pay for performance. And I think that, I think it's like digital gold. That's the first stop in it. And gold is about a $10 trillion asset category, and Bitcoin's $1 trillion. And it's infinitely divisible, or almost so. It's easily transportable and can be sent anywhere in the world if you have a smartphone. So it is a much better version as a store of value than gold. And then there's $15 trillion of negative yielding bonds out there. Why would you have that when you could own something that at least has the potential to go up? And I think Bitcoin will be the dominant technology in this emerging asset category.
So Bill Miller is saying that Bitcoin is not in a bubble because its demand is growing faster than its inflation, and that Bitcoin is a better version of gold. And this is now coming out of the mouths of people from Wall Street. These are things that we all knew. We all knew these things for a long time, but Wall Street is now finally starting to understand. So here we are now in 2021, and Wall Street is becoming positive on Bitcoin, and they're actually buying Bitcoin. And this is very likely going to lead to the Bitcoin ETF being approved on Wall Street. Now that Wall Street is becoming very comfy and cozy with Bitcoin, the Wall Street Bitcoin ETF will likely launch, in my opinion, this year. And in my opinion, when the Wall Street Bitcoin ETF launches, that will likely be somewhere close to the top. Wall Street is going to want to send the price of Bitcoin as high as they possibly can going into the launch of the ETF. Now, when the Bitcoin ETF launches, that does not mean that it's the top, that's not the exact top signal necessarily. There could be a final pump after we get the ETF to actually launch, right? So I think that we're actually going to sustain these current prices. I don't think we're going to see any major long-term correction from here. I think that the bull market is well underway and that Bitcoin is still looking very good, and that the current Wyckoff distribution and dump that we saw is probably going to resemble something like this from May, June, going into July of 2020, after we had the March crash. Bitcoin came up, we saw some Wyckoff distribution here, followed by some sideways action and a pump. I think that something along those lines is more likely right now because the interest and the confidence in Bitcoin is just too high. And the recent dump was just a result of some short-term FUD with the hash rate volatility. Regardless of the short term, I don't even care. I don't care about the short term. Long term, the trend is our friend. It's looking really, really good. And something that Bill Miller said in that interview was that he thinks Bitcoin's not in a bubble. I'm like right on the fence. I'm like right in the middle. I think we're actually entering bubble territory right now. That this current price level is the last area of entry before we go into a real bubble. And if you're looking at 2017, we had 175% from the previous all-time high up, and that was our next bear market low. And here we are again. We're up over 175% from our last all-time high. And I think the next bear market low could be around 50K. So as we start punching up here, we're going to likely enter overvaluation and then come back down to these exact prices in the bear market. So I think we're not necessarily in a bubble, but we're about to enter a bubble. But don't worry, the bubble is where you make the most gains if you sell, right? So I think that we're doing quite good right now. I expect the crypto market to hit the gas and actually see higher prices. The one thing that makes me very confident right now is that Ethereum's market structure is looking better than Bitcoin's, right? And this is awesome to see. You're looking at Bitcoin's market structure. We lost some key support here. The chart looks a little bit awkward for Bitcoin, a little bit ugly overall. Though, we are sustaining these prices. Things are okay. Ethereum's chart looks really clean. We flipped that previous February resistance into new support, and we got a really solid bounce. And I think the bullish sentiment surrounding Ethereum may end up supporting Bitcoin some more, and this may allow the crypto market to sustain its bullish posture. So I really like to see what I'm seeing for Ethereum. And a news piece that I just saw is that Ethereum whales are at an all-time high as ETH explodes against Bitcoin. Ethereum whales, meaning accounts with at least 10,000 ETH, bought the dip at 1,950, and their numbers have increased, guys. Bitcoin balance on exchanges is going down, which is bullish. Ethereum whales that have 10,000 Ethereum or more is going up, bullish, right? The whales are not letting go of their Bitcoin. They're not letting go of their Ethereum. They're just buying more. They're just buying more. And if you're somebody that's out there panic selling on dips, well, you're doing the exact opposite of what smart money is doing right now. Smart money knows that we are about to hit the gas and go to much higher levels. And they're buying more. They're not letting go of their crypto, right? Don't be dumb money, right? Follow the money. Follow the smart money. No reason to be worried right now. No reason to panic, in my opinion. Also, we're seeing that Uniswap's weekly trade volume reaches record high of 10 billion. Guys, interest is huge. People are very interested in crypto. And according to my analysis, we are not overvalued yet. We are about to enter overvaluation, but we're not in the bubble just yet. And we're seeing all these great metrics coming in. So yeah, I think we're going to hit the gas and actually see major upside moving forward. This channel is focused on the macro trends. And from a macro perspective, I think we're looking really good. One thing that we need to look for right now that could be a bearish signal if it takes place is the weekly MACD. Right here, you guys see that? If we cross bearish, that would be a little bit worrisome. It would be a little bit worrisome if we cross bearish. But if Bitcoin can find support now, then the weekly MACD moving averages likely would not cross, and we would actually continue up and see positive momentum build out once again. And guys, remember, look at the balance on exchanges. Look at this. It's still going down. Whales are removing Bitcoin from exchanges because they're not looking to sell, right? Ethereum whales are at an all-time high. We have an all-time high of Ethereum whales. People just want to buy more right now because we're not necessarily in a bubble yet. I think we have a lot more upside to go. And, right now, dips are for buying. They're not for selling, right? Don't be a panic seller in the middle of a bull market, right? You don't want to be doing you don't want to be panic selling just yet We got a lot more upside to go before all that. So I hope all of this makes sense. I hope it made a good case for you guys as to why the bull market is nowhere near over, why we have a lot more upside to go, very likely. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Smash that like button and subscribe to this channel if you're new. And also be sure to sign up with the Cryptowatch platform by clicking that link below. And I'll see you all in the next video.